Legend of the Shield. The Investors, Part 2. Ezoc grit his teeth in frustration as the computer edged slowly through the firewalls that blocked his way. His latest attempt to hack into the Solaris files had already drawn too much attention for his liking, and neither the streams of numbers flicking down the stream, nor the bottle of wine beside him, did much to improve his mood.
Come on! Damn it!
The computer locked down suddenly. The emergency program he'd installed, rebooting the system before his target's defensive programs could enslave his own computer. Bitterly, he reached out for the wine, not even bothering with the glass, as he took another deep gulp. In exasperation, he reached for a pile of printouts upon his desk. On them were dozens of photo stills taken from the so-called deep wards within Bridgwater.
Those poor bastards.
As though they were not bad enough, he'd discovered in the days since just how many had vanished even from the secretive wards. No records were left on the system, and there was precious little on the CCTV. In vain, he'd scoured them, digging through the copious security systems in place to find what he could. It hadn't been enough. Another gulp. The bottle returned to the table with a depressing clink of empty glass, and he rapped his fingers against the desk as he wondered what to do.
I'm not leaving these people like this.
Embittered, he opened his laptop, finding at once the waiting still from the CCTV he'd saved. The suited man with the unpleasant smile. Even as he looked, it seemed like the image was looking back, the cruel expression even appearing to lengthen a little in the dim light of his office.
Who are you?
Frowning, he loaded up the CCTV again, syncing it up with a search engine of his own design. The program hummed cheerily, riling through the reams of data to find any images it could of the strange figure.
The Unshiri? Well, that ain't much help. Just what are you?
He mused on the question, recalling his failed attempts to find any mention of this so-called Unshiri Corps on record. There was precious little to go on, and dealing with such an enigmatic corporation had made him nervous. A chirpy beep signaled the end of the program's search, and warily he leaned forward to take a closer look. There were few results. Most only the figure wandering through the isolated deep wards, as though on inspection.
How the hell did you get in, my little friend?
He checked back, but none of the images showed any sign of the external doors. Instead, the earliest videos seemed to be of lonely corridors or empty rooms. A burst of static would disrupt the signal, and when it cleared, the strange suited man would simply be waiting there as though he'd never been otherwise.
What is going on? Hello, 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 hello!
His mood improved as he caught sight of something else. One of the videos showed what appeared to be a lorry driving up to the back gate. Ezoc watched as it parked close to the storage doors, only for the CCTV to grow fuzzy as the suited man walked out to meet it. Behind him was being wheeled something by a pair of orderlies. The video distortion grew too bad to make out what it was, but Ezoc gritted his teeth again as he considered the possibilities. He glanced again to the list of missing. 15 in all.
So, you have a pickup, do you? What are you planning?
Checking his main computer, he was pleased to see it had already rebooted and cleared out any remaining evidence of his activities. Licking his lips, he began furiously typing away once more, rifling through the Solaris archives. He smirked, surprised how pitiful some of the internal security was for the classified files. He wasn't about to complain, finding his way to what little information the company had on these so-called Unshiri.
What do we have here? Old company, run by a single family, dozens of connected networks. My, you have been busy. So what's your deal?
He frowned, unsure what to make of the information he had. The Unshiri seemed to be a true mystery, with a well-established worldwide network, but with almost no history, nor any obvious business interests until the discovery of Sedis. It seemed as though they had just slipped out of the shadows. Aside from the Sedis, There were scattered fragments of records of involvement in genetic weapons and cybernetics, in mineral mining, politics, and information brokering. There was not a lot to like, emerging from the chaos and feuding of the petroleum wars to increasingly influence the modern day from behind the scenes.
What are you doing in my hospitals?
He grimaced, looking back to the cold smile of the man on the CCTV. Whatever the truck was that the man was meeting, it had nothing to do with Bridgewater's operations.
Not exactly going to be able to do much from up here.
He glanced up to the CCTV camera he knew about that sat in the corner of his room. It had appeared earlier this morning, a new addition to the furniture since he had left his office the previous night. He smirked a little as he stared up to it, lifting his empty glass in mock salute. It sat there staring at him, and he allowed a grim smile as he glanced to the large lump of amethyst that had been left as a decoration alongside it. As though whoever had placed it there had somehow hoped it would be enough to distract him from noticing. He wasn't sure if he should feel insulted or not. Fortunately, the bottle of wine with it had helped ease his annoyance, but that didn't solve the problem.
Guess it's kind of weird to break into my own hospital.
He frowned, putting the glass aside and rubbing his temples as he flicked over the CCTV. The open lorry park flickered in front of him, each time the interference fading the image away, just before the suited bastard led whatever the orderlies were carrying from the building. As he watched, something strange caught his eye. A weird shadow in the corner, atop one of the outlying walls. Curious, he checked another one of the tapes, finding the same shadow lurking nearby. It was definitely a figure, but he could see no sign of anyone on the image. As he flipped through the tape, just for a moment, something seemed to melt out of the darkness before leaping away. He froze the image again, zooming as far as he could, and refining it as he stared intently.
No fucking way.
He mused quietly to himself, astonished to see his own modified spacesuit lurking impossibly at the top of the perimeter wall. He smiled in disbelief, checking again, but the details were unmistakable. Battered, but certain.
Franklin, you son of a bitch.
He checked the tapes again, both of them from the past 2 nights. Elated, he switched to the live feed, eyes eagerly devouring the details of the lorry bay as he watched for the strange shadow. After a few moments, something appeared near one of the rooftops, a weird shadow that shouldn't have been there, appearing even as the lorry lurched into view and the Unshiri opened the door below.
Funny how things work out.